Mr. Wong Yan Leung, Chairman of the Advisory Committee of Mental Health, Mr. Eddie Lee, Deputy Secretary for Health, ACMH members, Eric, Naubahar, Pamela, Cecilia from the Lehigh Sound Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and a very warm welcome on a pretty cold day. Thank you for being here today for Hong Kong's first multi-stakeholder conference on mental health of ethnic minorities in Hong Kong. Proudly presented by the Zubin Foundation, together with the Department of Psychiatry at Hong Kong U. Thank you to Eric and his team at the Department of Psychiatry for being our research partners, but also for being such engaging partners. For those of you not familiar with our work at the Foundation, we are a non-profit organization in Hong Kong whose aim is to improve the lives of Hong Kong's ethnic minorities. The Zubin Foundation focuses on outreach work and also drives systemic change. And one of our key 5 areas of outreach work is mental health. As we're talking about Hong Kong ethnic minorities today, I think it's important that we set the context for who are Hong Kong's ethnic minorities and look at some numbers. If we exclude the foreign domestic helper population and we look at the population of Hong Kong, the total ethnic minority population represents about 4%. And in terms of which populations are the biggest, if we exclude the mixed and the Caucasian communities, which generally have much higher income levels, we are really talking about the Hong Kong Indian, Nepalese, Filipino, Pakistani, and other communities. If we look at this community, we notice that we have to take it seriously. If we look at the data over 10 years from the government's 2011 to 2021 census data, we see that the South Asian community has increased by 180%. This compares to a 4.8% growth of the whole population. The median age of this population is also much younger, at 34.5 years of age, compared to 46.3. If we look at the language capability of this population and look specifically at the percentage who speak English as their usual spoken language, it is 88.4%. This population is a working population of Hong Kong. It may be a poor population, but they are in the labour force, and the labour force participation rate is 66.5%. Sadly, this population is significantly impacted by poverty. 1 in 3 ethnic minority children live in poverty, compared to 1 in 4 in the overall population. We set up the Ethnic Minority Wellbeing Centre in September 2019. There was no plan to work in mental health. We were approached separately by 5 young ethnic minorities, all at university in Hong Kong. They all spoke Cantonese, and they came to us with depression, anxiety, and stress. They were stressed about forced marriage situations and family conflict. They were looking for mental health professionals who could speak in their language and, more importantly, understand some of the issues that were inherent to their lives. So we set up, just on a trial basis, the Ethnic Minority Wellbeing Centre. It became very obvious to us, 44 clients later, that there was an unmet need in the provision of mental health services in Hong Kong. There was a gap. We knew that we had to professionalize our service, increase our capacity, and extend our scope. from just the South Asian community to also cover the Southeast Asian community non-domestic helper population. We started phase 2 together with the Lehigh Sand Foundation, the Croucher Foundation, the Department of Psychiatry, and our advisory committee. And together, phase 2 started. Now, phase 2 is actually longer than the December 2022 because Lehigh Sand has continued to fund us until the government takes over the funding of this project. And that will commence phase 3 later this year. Now, one of our objectives in phase 2 was to raise the awareness of government about this community and the lack of mental health provisions for them. We therefore approached Wang Yanlong, as he's already shared, and we are delighted, like I said, that the government will be funding phase 3. We thank both the ACMH, the entire ACMH, should I say, and also to the Department of Health. Now, what exactly is the Ethnic Minority Wellbeing Centre? Well, we offer one-to-one counselling to grassroots ethnic minorities in Hong Kong. We offer it in 4 languages: English, Hindi, Urdu, and Nepali. Our target audience are Hong Kong residents, South Asian and Southeast Asian, 16 years or above, comfortable with the languages I've just mentioned, and from low-income families. I need to say, though, that we have also turned down individuals. And so there is still in Hong Kong an unmet demand from foreign domestic helpers who approach us en masse, low-income Caucasians and non-Chinese speaking Chinese communities, and refugees and asylum seekers. And these communities who have approached us, but we have not provided services to them, really because of a lack of capacity. So the treatment manual that we developed by the Zubin Foundation is based on CBT, or cognitive behavioral therapy. It was really important for us to have a treatment manual because we want to ensure quality of service between all of our counsellors. It was also really important for us because Hong Kong U was conducting the RCT study, and we wanted to make sure, again, that there was consistency. In terms of the clients that come to us, they all go through a screening process using depression, anxiety, and stress scale as our screening tool. For clients who score mild or moderate, they have 6 sessions, one-to-ones, and 2 optional booster sessions. For clients who score severe or extremely severe, they have 10 sessions and an optional 2 booster sessions. The sessions take place either face-to-face or online, as we started to do really during COVID. The treatment manual, as I've mentioned, is very important to us, and it ensures that consistency. We have got clients who have approached us with suicidal risk, and we refer them to the government-funded ICCMWs. And then they will refer them to HA's psychiatric services as they deem relevant and appropriate. Now, I want to share with you the profile of the ethnic minority clients who have seen us in the January to December 2-year period. So if we look at the profile of clients, the vast majority of our clients are female, 85%. The Pakistani community represents 43%, followed by the Indian at 25%, and then the Nepali as the largest 3 groups that are seeing us and receiving counselling. What is really important to note about the age group is that half the clients are youth, or over half the clients, actually almost 60%. And these are the clients who are coming to us wanting help and needing help. Perhaps one of the biggest surprises to us at the Zubin Foundation and to the Department of Psychiatry was when we started, we were actually quite surprised with the level of severity and risk of our clients. 23% of all our clients exhibit a risk of suicide or self-harm. The majority of them had repeated thoughts of a passive wish to die. And this is important, and it's important to note too that these are Hong Kong people. They are in our schools, they're in our universities, they're in our workplaces, and they are struggling to get by. I want to share with you some of our key observations through our counselling service. We note that women have used the service more than men. We see a strong patriarchal culture amongst South Asian families, and a strong power imbalance between men and women in households. Domestic violence is a very big problem, but so is forced marriage. And the issue of forced marriage is particularly big with our local Pakistani women and men. And girls face this pressure potentially more than men, and certainly that's what we've seen. And the conflict is between their dreams and the dreams and wishes of their parents. We have seen discrimination against ethnic minorities as a constant in our clients. They struggle in their daily lives receiving discrimination at school with name-calling and bullying, at work with exclusion, be it not being invited out for lunch, not being invited to social events, people around them speaking Cantonese when they could be speaking English when they know they don't speak Cantonese. Public transportation is an area where we see rampant discrimination in Hong Kong. Ethnic minorities are often sitting alone because others will walk away, will cover their nose, will tell them to go home. Sometimes taxis won't stop for them, but will stop for the Chinese person who might be standing on their side. Ethnic minorities struggle with the sense of belonging. They don't feel like they belong at home because of the conflict they have intergenerationally, but they don't feel like they belong at school or at work in the community. The impact of COVID has been large on everyone in Hong Kong. 2.5 to 3 years of no school, face-to-face school, has had a significant impact. With travel restrictions, a lot of our families, particularly women, were stuck at home with 5 children or 6 children, completely isolated and lonely. There has been a lot of job losses in catering and construction and the airport. And for the first time in the Zubin Foundation's history, we saw hunger, where people were calling us for food. So poverty adds to the mental health distress and stresses of the family. Job losses also meant that both parents were at home in 120 square foot, which is the typical housing size of our clients, and as I said, sometimes with 5 or 6 children. Yes, we saw domestic violence rise. That just gives you a snapshot of some of the issues we have seen, but in the pamphlet that has been distributed, I hope you'll be able to read more, and we have much more on our website as well. Before I end, a few thank yous to our partner, Hong Kong U, under Eric's team. Thank you to Lee Hai San for funding the project and for funding today's event. Thank you to the Croucher Foundation for making the RCT study done by Hong Kong U possible and funding Dinesh's trip. Also the ACMH our advisory committee for their advice during the whole duration of the project, Eric Chen and Yi Nam, Dinesh Bugra, and Paul Wong. Thank you to the team at the Zubin Foundation. It has been quite a journey, starting a totally new project, reaching out to a clientele that has been suffering with mental health, and it has taken extreme commitment from Winnie and Shilpa, Rabia, Priya, and Namra. Thank you to you all. May I now hand back to Namra so we can continue on this conference. Thank you all.